I am so excited to finally formally introduce our son, which sounds so crazy to say. So this is baby Sebastian, and he is currently 5 weeks old, but I did have him 2 weeks early, so I always kind of like to subtract 2 weeks from his actual age because that kind of helps me track where he's at, like as far as feeding, what he should be doing by now. As you guys can see, he barely opens his eyes. He is starting to get a lot of strength in his neck already, which is really exciting because pretty soon I feel like he'll be able to interact with me. He doesn't really make eye contact yet, but he does keep his eyes open quite a bit now, a lot more than he used to. And he's just a little snuggly baby. He loves to snuggle and he loves to be held. So when he was born, he weighed exactly 6 pounds, 3 ounces, and he was also 18 inches and 18.2 inches long. The high-risk specialist was concerned about his size. She kept saying that he was on the smaller side, but when he was born 100% healthy. He's making all kinds of noises. He's so cute because when he's asleep, he is not bothered by loud noises at all, which is so crazy because you know, most babies will wake up from asleep from any little noise. Oh, look, he's smiling. But I think it's because when he was inside of me, he heard the dogs barking and the doorbell ringing all the time. So now he's kind of used to it. That's my theory on it. But he is bothered by being moved or being touched while he's trying to rest. Everybody says that he looks just like me. He has my little nose and he has, I feel like he has my lips, but he has my husband's shape of lips. And when he opens his eyes, he definitely has my husband's eyes. And he has a lot of hair. Let me show you guys. Oh, had a little burpee. Look at all that hair. And this is how he came out. He came out with so much hair. That was one of the first things the doctor said when they pulled him out. They're like, oh, wow, he has a lot of hair. He was 38 weeks when he was born. I went in for C-section. If you guys have been following all my pregnancy vlogs, you know that I was high risk, mainly due to my platelets. I was seeing a hematologist, a high risk specialist, and also my OB, so I was seeing a lot of doctors. Towards the end, it got a little bit rough. I was going in for IVIG treatments. All the doctors are working together to get my delivery scheduled so that they could time all of the treatments with my delivery date to make sure that everything went really smooth. It could not have gone any smoother. The day of the surgery, they actually had blood and platelets ready for me. They put 2 IVs on me just in case I needed a blood transfusion, and the doctors were just so shocked at how smoothly everything went. I didn't need any of the blood. I don't think I was prepared for how scary it would be to go into that surgery room, because when you get into pre-op, they kind of hook you up to your IVs, and they don't actually start putting medication in you yet, but they kind of get the IV ready for the doctors. They put you in your gown and you're just kind of there waiting for the doctors to get there. And you walk into this room alone. The nurse was with me, but they didn't let my husband come in until after they had started on the surgery. So I walked in alone with the nurse next to me into this huge, really bright room, really cold, with like all these instruments of surgery. I was just so scared. I just remember going almost into like shock mode. Like I could hear the doctors, but not really. Like they were telling me what to do, and I was just kind of like following their instructions, but not really. I don't know. It was kind of like an out-of-body experience, to be honest, you guys. And I'm not saying any of this to like scare any of you guys that are going into C-section, because it did get better. Every mom says this, but it was so worth it. When you hold your baby for the first time, there is absolutely nothing in the world like it. There is just... Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that was, for me, during the C-section, that was the scariest part. Can you guys see his little faces? I could watch the little faces he makes all day. So yeah, I was just so incredibly terrified. I wish my husband would have been there, because he would have just made it so much easier for me. He would have been able to like hold my hand, or I would have been able to like lean up against him. But instead they had me hold a pillow and hunch over, and the anesthesiologist went in and gave me my spinal tap, which it did hurt me. Maybe I'm just a big baby. Everybody talks about how the spinal doesn't actually hurt, but it hurt. I mean, it was a quick hurt, but it still hurt. After that, my legs started to feel really tingly, and I started to kind of just I guess I re-zoned in, like after I was laying down on the table, I kind of started to like gain consciousness again, if that's what you could call it. By this point, they let my husband in, and he was able to come hold my hand, and he was standing right by my head the whole time. So then they started like poking my stomach and like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? I couldn't feel anything. And I just remember my husband like trying to distract me and like holding my hand and stuff. And then next thing you know, they're telling me, they're like, okay, we're in. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this happened so fast. The surgery really does happen so fast. And they had like this drape thing over me to where I couldn't see beyond. The doctor did ask, he's like, do you want to see the baby come out? And by this point, I'm freaking out. So I'm like, no, I don't want to see anything. He's like, okay, well, if you do change your mind at the last second, tell me, I'll bring it down so you can see him come out. I remember in the middle of surgery, he tells me, he's like, okay, this part, you're going to feel a lot of pressure by your chest. You're going to want to stop breathing, but don't stop breathing because the baby needs oxygen. And I just remember feeling, it felt like an elephant sat on my chest. There's no other way of describing it. It really felt like I could not breathe. And the doctor was kind of coaching me through it. He's like, breathe, take a deep breath. Had he not been doing that, I would have stopped breathing. But it was so difficult to breathe. But again, that lasted seconds. In the moment, it felt like it was an eternity, but it really did only last a few seconds. And they were like, we're done, he's out. As they're pulling him out, I don't know if I told the doctor I want to see. I don't know what happened, but he pulled it down and I was able to see him come out of me. And he came out screaming his little head off. But it was just the second I heard that cry, it was just the most unbelievable, indescribable feeling. I just got hit by like so many emotions, you guys. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how you can have so many emotions flood you in one moment. I just began crying, and I'm not the type of person to cry in public. I like to cry in the privacy of my home, like when nobody's seeing. So the fact that I started crying, I was flooded with so many emotions. Like, it was a combination of like realizing like that little creature was growing inside of me and he's out of me, and the love and relief and gratefulness that he cried because anything could have gone wrong. Then after that, it all went by so fast because I was just so distracted by watching him. They took him over to a table. My husband cut his umbilical cord, and I'm just like bawling my eyes out, crying like a little baby. And the doctor's like, you want me to take pictures? I'm like, yes. And the doctor took a bunch of pictures for us. And it was really cool because I didn't realize how many pictures he actually took for us until like I got home. I went through my camera log, and the doctor was awesome. He documented everything for us. Like, we have a picture of him because we have the iPhone where it has like the live moment where it's like a mini video clip. So we literally have that clip of him being pulled out of me, which is incredible because in the moment you just don't really think to take pictures of stuff like that, but the doctor captured all of that. So we just got really lucky. We had an amazing team. After that, they wheeled me into recovery. And I don't really remember much about recovery. By then, they had already given me some kind of painkiller, like a narcotic, so I was really loopy. However, I managed to take a lot of really good pictures in recovery. I have a picture of like me and my husband giving him a kiss, and apparently I took it with the selfie mode on the phone, which I do not remember taking that picture. But I have a lot of really cool pictures. So I was really loopy, but I did not forget my pictures. Something I totally forgot to mention, when they first started the surgery, I don't remember what medication they gave me, but it was something that made me like super shaky. So throughout the entire surgery, I was shaking so much, like shivering, shaking, but it was a side effect of the medication. So that pain medicine that they gave me at the very end counteracted all that shaking. And the doctor did warn me. He's like, this is one of the side effects. You may feel extremely shaky, so just know that it will go away after the surgery. I was in recovery for about an hour, and then they wheeled me into my actual room where I was going to be staying for the rest of the time. They put a catheter in you because, you're numb from your waist down and you can't go to the bathroom by yourself. And they take it off, I think 24 hours later. Gosh, I can't remember. I was so out of it for the full first day after surgery. So they took my catheter out, And I was just so scared because I'd heard that if you don't use the bathroom within a certain amount of time, they put the catheter back in you. So I was freaking out because I didn't want that to happen, because you don't feel them put the catheter in you because you're already numb when they do it. They do it right before surgery. And then you feel it when they take it out, but it doesn't hurt. It's just like you can feel it, you know? So I did not want to experience the discomfort of having them put a catheter in. So I started drinking a lot of water because I heard that that'll help you go to the bathroom. I tried to use the restroom and I just could not go. It was almost like I couldn't find that muscle that you use to use the restroom. It was the most weirdest thing ever. So I'm freaking out by this point. I drank more water, which was my huge mistake. I should not have done that. I should have just paced myself with the water. By this point, I was in a lot of pain because my bladder was so full that it was pushing up against the incision, the inside incision, because they do cut through your uterus whenever you have a C-section. So it was pushing up against my uterus incision, and I was in so much pain, and I was crying by this point. I was telling the nurse, like, I can't use the bathroom, and he had to reinsert the catheter. So this is where the nightmare started. They could not get the catheter back in me. Meanwhile, my bladder feels like it's about to explode. My incision feels like it ripped open already. When they finally get it in, it turns out that I was so swollen from the surgery. Normally, whenever you go to a C-section, one of the pain medications that they give you is Motrin, like 800 milligrams of Motrin, because it helps with inflammation. But because I suffer from low platelets, I can't take Motrin because of the risk of internal bleeding. So that's why I was so swollen. I had a little over 50 ounces in my bladder. That's why I was in so much pain. Like, the nurses could not believe how much liquid was just coming out. I felt so much better when they were able to release the liquid. They didn't keep the catheter and they took it out. The nurses reassured me. They're like, you shouldn't have any problem going to the bathroom now. So after the whole bladder incident, recovery went so well, you guys. Like, I actually got released super early. I got released on day 3 in the afternoon, like around 12. Which, when you have a C-section, you're usually going to be in the hospital for anywhere between 4 to 5 days. But I got released so early because I was doing so well. I think it was just all the adrenaline, honestly, because I was up and walking around and I was holding him and I was like moving. I was laying myself back down. Even though I did feel the pain, I almost like didn't listen to it. And we like begged the doctors and the nurses to let us go home because I just wanted to be home and comfortable. That evening, everything just hit me all at once. Like, I was in so much pain. I had my medication, but I don't know, I felt almost like feverish and like really weak. And I think it was just a lack of sleep. I hadn't slept those past 3 days. I think I slept like 3 hours at the most. And then that first night, I didn't really get to sleep at all because I was literally staring at him. I was sleeping all night because I wanted to make sure he was breathing. I was a mess, you guys, and I was just so emotional. I was like happy and I was sad because I was thinking about him, like how much I loved him and how like I never knew that I could love a little person this much. And then I started thinking about him and growing up and going to school and becoming an adult. Like, you guys, I was so all over the place, and I would just start crying because I was like, I never want him to grow up. I want him to stay little like this forever. I seriously ask myself every day what we did to deserve him. The only time he cries is if we wait too long to feed him. He'll tell you that he's hungry before he cries. So he'll like start bringing his little hands up to his mouth and just like, he looks like a little baby dinosaur, like trying to like eat his little hand. And that's how you know that he's hungry. So he rarely ever cries. Oh, and he also cries when he is having his diaper changed. He does not like having his diaper changed. So yeah, thank you guys for being so patient, and I hope it was worth the wait getting to meet him. I know he has a lot of YouTube aunties and tias that were dying to meet him, and of course you guys have been following my pregnancy journey since the announcement last year. And now I can finally start posting pictures of him on Instagram. You guys have no idea how hard it's been, like especially when I put like really cute outfits on him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want to Instagram him, like showing his face. So definitely follow me on there if you guys want to see some really cute pictures of him. I'd love to know if any of you guys are pregnant right now or if you just had your baby. I want to know how many of you guys watching are new moms. Leave me a comment, let me know. Oh, also one last thing before I go. A lot of you guys requested in my hospital bag video that I do an updated video sharing with you guys what I actually used out of everything that I packed, because I know I overpacked, you guys. But I did do a full blog post sharing, it's really long blog post, like very detailed. So I will leave the link below, but I talk about everything that I actually used at the hospital, what was super helpful, and the things that I probably wouldn't have packed next time. And we will talk to you guys next time. You say bye-bye? Say bye-bye? No, I'm actually really tired, Mommy. I just want to sleep.